The Bogey Beast. The Bogey Beast is a delightful fairy tale about how luck is all relative. From English Fairy Tales, retold by Flora Annie Steele, 1922, illustrated by Arthur Rackham. Modern English Update by Albert Taylor. There was once a woman who was very, very cheerful, though she had little to make her so, because she was old, poor, and lonely. She lived in a little cottage and earned a living by running errands for her neighbors, getting food here, a small meal there, as reward for her services. So she made an effort to get on, and always looked as happy and cheery as if she didn't have a worry in the world. Now, one summer evening she was trotting, full of smiles as ever, along the high road to her hovel. What should she see but a big black pot lying in the ditch? "Goodness me!" she cried. "That would be just the very thing for me if I only had something to put in it. But I don't. Now who could have left it in the ditch?" And she looked about her, expecting the owner would not be far off. But she could see nobody. "Maybe there is a hole in it," she went on. "That's why it has been cast away. But it would do fine to put a flower in for my window, so I'll just take it home with me." And with that, she lifted the lid and looked inside. "Mercy me!" she cried, very amazed. "If it isn't full of gold pieces, here's luck." And so it was, full of great gold coins. Well, at first she simply stood still, wondering if she was standing on her head or her heels. Then she began saying, "Oh, wow, but do I feel rich. I feel awful rich." After she had said this many times, she began to wonder how she was to get her treasure home. It was too heavy for her to carry, and she could see no better way than to tie the end of her dress to it and drag it behind her like a cart. "It will soon be dark," she said to herself as she walked along. "So much the better. The neighbors will not see what I'm bringing home, and I shall have all the night to myself, and be able to think of what I'll do. Maybe I'll buy a big house and just sit by the fire with a cup of tea and do no work at all like a queen. Or maybe I'll bury it in the garden and just keep a bit of in the old china teapot on the chimney piece. Or maybe, goody, goody, I feel that great I don't know myself." By this time she was a bit tired of dragging such a heavy weight, and, stopping to rest a while, turned to look at her treasure. And wow! It wasn't a pot of gold at all. It was nothing but a lump of silver. She stared at it, and rubbed her eyes, and stared at it again. "Well, I never," she said at last, "and me thinking it was a pot of gold. I must have been dreaming. But this is luck. Silver is far less trouble, easier to mind, and not so easy to steal. Them gold pieces would have been the death of me. And with this great lump of silver—" So she went off again planning what she would do, and feeling as rich, until becoming a bit tired again, she stopped to rest and looked around to see if her treasure was safe. And she saw nothing but a great lump of iron Well, I never, she said again, and I mistaking it for silver. I must have been dreaming. But this is luck. It's real convenient. I can get penny pieces for old iron, and penny pieces are a great deal handier for me than your gold and silver. Why, I should never have slept for fear of being robbed. But a penny piece is useful, and I shall sell that iron and be real rich. So she trotted, full of plans as to how she would spend her penny pieces, until once more she stopped to rest and looked round to see her treasure was safe. And this time she saw nothing but a big stone. Well, I never, she cried, full of smiles. And to think I mistook it for iron. I must have been dreaming. But here's luck, indeed, and me wanting a stone to stick open the gate. But it's a change for the better. It's a fine thing to have good luck. So, all in a hurry to see how the stone would keep the gate open, she trotted off down the hill until she came to her own cottage. She unlatched the gate and then turned to unfasten her dress from the stone, which laid on the path behind her. Wow! It was a stone, sure enough. There was plenty light to see it lying there, peacefully, as a stone should. So she bent over it to unfasten the dress end, when, oh my! All of a sudden it jumped, and squealed, and in one moment was as big as a haystack. Then it let down 4 great legs and grew 2 long ears, with a great long tail, and trotted off. The old woman stared at it until it was fairly out of sight. Then she burst out laughing too. Well, she laughed, I am in luck. Quite the luckiest person out here. Lucky my seeing the Bogey Beast myself, and dragging it out here too. My goodness! So she went into her cottage and spent the evening chuckling over her good luck.